In this video, we will cover the process of selling a home during a divorce. On today's show, I have Michele McClintic. Michele is an escrow officer with Independence Title. I wanted to bring Michele in on this series we are doing around real estate and divorce because as a longtime escrow agent, she knows what has to happen behind the scenes to get a property to close when it's going through a divorce. And it's not as simple as you might think. But before we dive into today's episode, I do want to take a moment to address the gravity of our topic. Divorce is a deeply personal and often challenging experience, and we want to approach it with the utmost sensitivity and respect. Our aim is not to trivialize or make light of the emotions involved, nor do we seek to encourage anyone to undertake this process lightly. Instead, we recognize that divorce is a reality for many individuals, and it can often involve complex real estate transactions. Our series is intended to provide guidance and support to those navigating this difficult journey, offering practical insights to help avoid common pitfalls and make informed decisions. We want to emphasize that our intention is to be a valuable resource, not to exploit or sensationalize the difficulties of divorce. Our goal is to offer clarity and support during what can be an emotionally charged time. And then the other disclaimer to add is we are not licensed real estate attorneys or family law attorneys. Any advice or recommendations shared in this series are based on research and experience, but they should not be considered as a substitute for professional legal counsel. Therefore, it is crucial to consult with a qualified attorney in your area who can provide personalized guidance towards your specific circumstances. Thank you for joining us with this series, and we hope that our content proves helpful and informative to those who may need it. Hey, and before we get started, stay to the end where I'm going to tell you how you can get our complete guide to selling or buying a home in a divorce. And with that out of the way, let's get to the interview. I wanted to bring you on the show today because with your experience in the title side of real estate, you've seen a lot of divorce situations and you've navigated a lot of those. So wanted to take some of your expertise and talk to everybody about that. Okay. And so we've got a list of questions that we've prepared in advance to make sure that we're hitting on all the high topics. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump in if you're ready.
Perfect. I'm ready.
And with this series on divorce in real estate, even if you've bought or sold a house before, it's different. And so it's why we're making this series to kind of point out some of the things that are different with it. And so for the audience watching this, a lot of this stuff is general in nature. So we'll apply to you wherever you are. But we are in Texas, which is a community property state. So a lot of the things that we're going to discuss today, or some of the things that we discussed today, may be only applicable in community property states. So Michele, starting at a high level, what are some of the key differences in closing a sale when you've got a divorce situation versus a regular sale?
Well, first of all, it's more stressful for everybody involved, typically, especially if the spouses are not agreeing. But we need to know as soon as we can that this situation is happening because a lot of times you are dealing with attorneys as well as buyers, sellers, and agents and lenders. And so typically it's just a little bit more stressful and there could be a little bit more paperwork and a little more people that you need to contact and let know what's going on.
Okay. So making sure that you guys are informed from the very beginning of who's all involved, who all needs to be a part of the communication process.
Yes.
Super important for you guys.
Yes. Especially if there's attorneys involved.
Yeah.
So that is our main thing because a lot of times you aren't getting the full picture from one of the sellers or, and sometimes they don't understand what the situation is. And so if we have an attorney that we can contact or an attorney that's reviewing everything, that helps. Okay. So we know we make sure we're staying within the divorce settlement guidelines.
So your role in the process is as the escrow officer.
Yes.
So where do you come in on this when you've got a divorcing couple? What's your role?
So it's the same as any other sale. However, and we are a third party. We are not involved in the transaction at all. We're just a third party, disinterested party. But we are the one that takes in all the funds and disperses out the funds, make sure payoffs are made and all of that. We are kind of the liaison usually whenever there is, especially when there's a divorce. We're between both sellers a lot of times. And we like to make it easier on the realtor because a lot of times the realtor's stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
So, you know, we help with that.
Getting into more of kind of the specifics around selling or closing on a deal during a divorce, there are times when there might be only one of the parties on the deed of either the husband or the wife. Only one of them is there. And actually this can happen without a divorce too. If that's the case, then does the other spouse need to be involved in the closing process at all?
The other party will need to sign out. So they will need to sign the warranty deed, deeding themselves out. Even if they're not on the original deed, since Texas is a community property state, they have a homestead right to that property. So if they are not a party of they are still going to have to deed out.
Okay.
And a lot of times they want to be involved all the way up to that. And if you have a very amicable divorce or separation or whatever, then there's not a problem with that. But since Texas is a community property state, they will have to deed out, even if they're not on the deed going in.
As part of your role in the title company, what you guys do is that you guys do background checks on the property, essentially. And so, and that comes up with a lot of times some sort of lien. Usually it's like a mortgage.
Right.
And that's very typical. But also you can find all sorts of liens on a property or other encumbrances to clear title that would have to be cleared in order to close, to convey a clean title policy to the new buyer. So in a divorce situation, is there a different process getting those cleared up, or is it pretty streamlined?
No, they have to be paid.
Okay.
Period. Whether it comes out of his part of the proceeds or her part of the proceeds, or it has to be paid. We can't close without paying off any liens that are on the property.
Okay. So what you're saying then is that the parties have to agree on how that's going to be taken care of.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and whether that's through attorneys or through their own conversation or, you know, even sometimes through the realtor playing middleman.
Right.
Those do have to
They have to be paid in order for us to close the property.
Now, let's say you've got a couple who have decided to separate and sell their home, and they've said to each other, hey, we'll separate and sell the home. After that sells, then we'll divorce. When you're working with a separated couple, does that change anything for you?
The only thing that it changes is we would obviously not have a divorce decree to go by, but they would still both have to sign, and we make them both sign a proceeds disbursement telling us how they want the money split. So everybody signs, everybody agrees on how it's split.
Okay.
So yeah, even separated, divorced, whatever, everybody has to agree.
During a divorce, you've already mentioned that sometimes there's attorneys involved. Are there any other documents involved that you would need to have to make sure that everything is done to the book and seamlessly, so there's no hiccups after closing?
After closing. If we know that there is a divorce, we have to get a copy of that decree so that we can make sure which party gets it, or that an agent was chosen to list it and they're splitting the money. So basically, if they already have that they can provide to us, we can move faster. We still have to order it ourselves, though.
What if the divorce hasn't been finalized and they've just filed for divorce?
If they've just filed for divorce and everybody's agreeing to come in and sign and all of that, and attorneys and everybody are saying, you know, whatever, that's not going to be a problem, then we can go with that. Some counties have a standing order that prevents people from selling during the pendency period of the divorce.
Oh, okay.
And so if they are going to still go ahead and do that, and their attorney would know this, they have to file a Rule 11 adjustment. And if they file that, then we're good. If not, I have to get special approval, or we have to get something from everybody signed saying that we can do it.
So, you know, the best situation, you're selling a home and there's money made.
Right.
And so how does that work? And you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but how does that work when you have proceeds and, you know, the parties are saying, well, I get this, I get this. How do you know how to split that money up?
So we get a copy of the divorce decree, and we have to order that, and then we have to go by what that says. Okay. And so if it says you get $100,000 and she gets the rest, then that's what we have to do. And and most people know what they're signing, hopefully. But we have to follow the divorce decree.
Okay. And then again, with no decree finalized, it would be whatever has been
agreed upon, what attorneys agree upon. I've had ones where I've had to send the money to the attorney and the attorney holds it.
Okay.
Until they agree. We've had to send it to the court, and the court holds it until the parties agree. So it just depends, but we have to go by what something says that we have to do, or we can't make that decision and we have to pass that along to let someone else hold it and decide.
Gotcha. So it's never, you're taking one word or
No.
another word. Mm-mm. It's all like there's kind of a higher authority telling you what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, we just take orders. Yeah. We don't get to make any of the decisions.
So we've got another video in this series where we are talking to a certified divorce real estate expert.
Okay.
And in that video, we talk a lot about how high the tensions are during this type of a transaction. And I'm sure you've been at the closing table and have, you could cut the tension in the room with a knife. But in those instances, if you've got parties that aren't agreeing, how do you handle that?
We just try to be as neutral as we can and hope that everybody signs.
Yeah.
Because if one doesn't sign, it's not happening.
Well, and then also back to the question from before, as far as, clearing up liens and things like that. What if you have disagreements during that process?
We wouldn't be able to do it. We would have to pay. We have to get a payoff statement from a mortgage company. I can't take somebody's word for what they owe. And so we have it in black and white to say this is what you owe. And if that's not agreed upon, we can't close it. If we get to a point where the proceeds or somebody's not willing to sign, we can't close it till all that gets worked out.
As far as sellers go, there's no trying to put title in the middle.
Right.
Yeah. So you guys, you have your strict marching orders. There's no, going a little outside the line here and there. And so I think on one hand, though, that does create a lot of, that helps with creating a sense of order in a rather chaotic situation that, hey, look, you can't take advantage of not one party, because I think there's a lot of distrust a lot of times. Right. And so you can rest assured that not one party is going to be able to walk in and say, hey, this is how it's going to be done. No, they're not title isn't taking sides. The realtor's not taking sides.
Right.
Nobody's taking sides. It is strictly by the book, by the law, making sure everything is done properly, because you want to have the deal closed, and you don't want title or anybody else having to come back and say, hey, this wasn't disclosed or this didn't happen. So it does make sense.
Yes. And a lot of times one of the parties, like you said, may feel a little, I'm not really trusting what he's going to say or what he's going to do or whatever. And so a lot of times it makes them feel more comfortable when they call and you say, no, I can't do this without your approval, or you can't. And so it makes them a lot more, the realtor doesn't have to feel like the bad guy, because a lot of times the realtor is closer to the sellers, because them on a better, so you can just divert it to us and we can say, this is it.
And it's nice to have a team when you are going through this situation, that you do have a team that is, holding a high bar and being very professional about it, and not getting in the weeds with the drama about it.
Right.
And so I think that is where making sure you're finding good professionals who know what they're doing and can keep a calm, cool head through the process is key, because again, tensions are so high.
Tensions are high when you're selling a house anyway and buying a house anyway. And then you throw this in the mix and so it's good to just have someone that's neutral and just says, this is what we've got to do. And if I need to talk to your attorney or his attorney, or, we can do that for you. It's not a problem.
When you go about closing, are there any potential delays with settling this out that someone selling through a divorce should be made aware of?
The only delay that we would be is if we were having trouble getting a payoff or trouble getting information from one of the spouses, or if one is unwilling to sign. Also, we can't disperse any proceeds until we have clear instructions from both parties and both parties agree.
So answer emails, provide documentation when requested, show up at closing, and then everything will be done. Michele, I've asked a lot of kind of random general questions about the process, but you've seen this side of it and so much more of it than I have. Can you tell me, are there any other tips or any things that we should also know about that would be worthwhile?
So one of the main things that I would say is when you go through a divorce and you're signing your divorce settlement and you get the house, and it says it in the divorce decree that you get this property. Usually, probably 99% of the time, that the divorce attorney will have the spouse deed out their portion to the person that's getting the property in the divorce.
Okay.
That's huge because that takes the property out of the one spouse's name and puts it into the other. That's recorded in the real estate records. It shows you own it only. If that is not done, we have to get a certified copy of the divorce decree that shows that you get the property, and that has to be recorded in lieu of this warranty deed.
Okay.
And nobody wants their divorce decree business recorded in the real estate records for everyone to see.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Okay. And so I always say, if you can get that deed and get that recorded, or at least hang on to it till you get ready to sell, we can record that at closing, put the property in your name only. Otherwise, I've had people say, I don't talk to him. I don't know where he is. I don't know, but I got it in the divorce. Well, yes, you did. But from a title standpoint, it's still in both of your names.
Wow.
So we have to get a certified copy of the divorce decree, and we have to record that before you can sell, or at the time that you sell. And so, like I said, a lot of people don't want all their business out there. Your social security number's not on there, your driver's license, none of that is on there, but other stuff is.
Yeah. So financial information. Wow. Yeah. I did not know that was a thing to deal with. So, and that would definitely be something where getting your attorney to make sure that your privacy is protected and the proper forms are filed on time.
I see in divorce decrees it says so-and-so gets the property, and the spouse will execute a deed for them. And then for some reason that document doesn't get signed or doesn't make its way to get recorded or something like that. And so I don't know if that's just something people don't think about until you go to sell. But I guess people that don't have experience think, oh, I got it in the divorce. And you did. However, there has to be a chain of title. It has to show coming out of his name some way, not just, I got it in the divorce.
So the important part is that it's filed in the
warranty deed from the one spouse to the other is recorded.
Okay, is recorded
in the real estate records.
Yes. So it's not as simple as saying, "Hey, I filed my divorce decree," because that is private and not accessible by
and that's not in the real estate records. That's in the clerk's office,
separate,
and it's totally different than title. That's our biggest thing that we see, and I hate to tell people when they say, "Well, I got it in the divorce." I'm like, "Well, yeah, you did, but this one little step didn't happen," you know, and so. And if you're getting along with your ex-spouse and we can do a warranty deed and have them sign it, we can do that too, but that's an additional expense as well.
Yeah.
So it's easier just to do everything at once when you do the divorce.
Well, Michelle, that was a lot of great information. Thank you so much for taking the time today and talk about this subject that, again, is pretty sensitive. So, and if you've stayed through this far and watched all of this video, I want to encourage you to reach out to get our guide that we've created. And you can get that guide by going to divorceguide.thecrestedgegroup.com. Well, friends, that is the show for today. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends. And if you're looking for more guidance on buying or selling a home in a divorce, we can connect you to a certified divorce real estate expert wherever you are. And these are seasoned professionals who know the intricacies of the process. To get connected, go to divorceguide.thecrestedgegroup.com and click on the Connect with a Specialist button, or reach out to me directly by phone or text at 214-803-4444, or start with an email to me at jshannon@kw.com. This episode is sponsored by Home Buying for Women. Home Buying for Women gives women step-by-step guidance, support, and resources to help them achieve their goal of home ownership. You can learn more at homebuyingforwomen.com. In addition, those who like to wear suits in the office tell me that I need to let you know that this content is for general informational purposes only. This should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, or tax advice. This content is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy. In order to make the best financial decision for your situation, you should seek advice from a seasoned attorney, CPA, financial or investment advisor, lender, or realtor. Well, that is all I have for this video. Be sure to check out another one on this channel. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.